Well, can you hear me? Hello. Yeah, I think that's better. Just random stuff. Sorry for making late entry, but I'm glad to be here. Yeah, so I think this is a topic which, if it's not someone in the room, it's probably someone you know. It was me personally, and I thought maybe the best way to deal with it is just talk about it. And yeah, maybe that'll probably work out well. Maybe you'll relate to some of it, maybe you might not, maybe someone you know might relate to it. But yeah, I think this is just my view on it. This was just for quick context. I moved into the UK October of last year, joined a new company. December, I get a mail, the dreaded mail, which typically people get, and yeah, things changed. It was the first time I got laid off, and I just want to go through some of the things that happened. It has a happy ending, like most things in the tech industry. So yeah, so that's a very recent photo of me. Immediately after I got laid off, the first thing I did was catch a train, go to Scotland, check out the mountains. All this works. So that was me trying to smile for the camera. But yeah, so I've been a software engineer for about 4 years now. I used to work in India earlier. I used to work in an e-commerce company, then I moved to Microsoft, and then I shifted here. I wanted to try something new. Just took a bet and came in. Didn't know anyone here, just started out, and yeah, that was my journey. When I moved here, I started from the ground up, didn't know a lot of people, start building. There are some people in the room here I know now, but it took some time to get there. So the day my layoff happened, I obviously wasn't prepared for it. I took some time to process it. It happened early in December. And I think one of the first things when you get laid off is you sort of start doubting yourself. And that's what I sort of cover. And I'm going to stick with this slide for some time. I think given that this has now become a more general phenomenon, we keep seeing this around. But I think what's very important is there is a very innate ability to doubt yourself, to think you're probably not good enough. Why you? I think that was my biggest question. And I think for me, very honestly, it took a lot of time to get there. I've always thought of myself as a high achiever, as probably most people in the room as well. And sometimes when you're there on the other side, or you get the negative end of the stick, it's not always great to be there. But all things aside, I think one of my foremost important learnings was, focusing on my circumstances, as I mentioned here. I had to work with what I had, right? So I was on a visa. And when you're on a visa, there's also an additional time clock that's ticking. You're trying to fight against time, and it reduces your opportunities as well. But I think the positive aspect of this was it forced me to network with people, and it forced me to understand what is the ecosystem in London, what are the companies doing, what technologies, who's working on what area. And I don't think I would have done that if this would have not forced me to do it. So I think that was super important. You learn a lot about the ecosystem. You meet a lot of exciting people. A lot of these newer startups who are doing some amazing work. Some of these older companies, you meet people in your situation. And I think that sort of worked well with me. One thing which sort of also took its toll is peer pressure. You get laid off, other people get laid off, other people find jobs, you're still looking. That often, that race is always there in your head. So I think that was one of the biggest threats that I had to myself. There was this 1 week where I had given one round, the first round in like about 4 or 5 companies. And I got like back-to-back rejections, and like I had a colleague who finally got through there. Happy for him, but it does sort of affect you morally. Yeah, so I think that's been some in some sense my learning. I spent a lot of time around that, and once you sort of get through it, keep applying, and it's a long journey. Like I got laid off in December. It's Feb end. I have a few offers now, but it took me 3 months to get here, and it doesn't happen in a week. There are weeks where things are not good. There are weeks where things are looking great, and you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I think this is just my last slide, and this is not a long talk. Don't worry. But yeah, I think these are three things that I typically used. I traveled. I traveled a lot. I'm going to Bristol tomorrow. I'm staying there for the weekend, so I have some time now. But I kept traveling, and I think kept meeting a few people. I think in scenarios like this, when there are things that are not in your control, there you can't do much about them. But then there are certain things out of in your control, and I think one of the things is ensuring you're not sulking at home and sitting at home. It's very important to get out there. I think the second thing was introspect. This gave me a chance to sit with myself, which often at times is scary. You don't know the thoughts that you have in your head, but allowed me to introspect and understand what is it that I want from my career. What are the things that make me click on, and what are the kind of roles and companies I would like to work at. And once you sort of know that and have that clarity, because that's something, one, that people ask in the interviews, but two, it's more important once you get a job role for you to enjoy that job role. Uh, and yeah, I think this gave me a lot of time for that. I think, I mean, the UK closes in December, right? We all go for Christmas holidays. So a large chunk of that is what I spent introspecting, understanding what was right for me, and probably the right break I needed at this point. And I think the last one obviously is network. Come to a meetup and talk about your situation. That's always good networking. But just meeting people, reaching them over LinkedIn, just cold emailing, I think that goes a long way. And yep, I think that's about it. To people who've probably been in my situation, or are somewhere around that uncertainty, how given how UK labor laws are, I think it's a bad market, but it's okay. I'm sure you'll get there. I've got through there. It took me 3 months, but I'm sure you will as well. I think at the end of the day, as long as you put the hard work, as long as you put in and you ask for help, which is there a lot. I asked for a lot of help, and I got a lot of help. And keep being there. I think you will make it. And yeah, if anyone would like to reach out, feel free to reach out on my socials. And that's all for today. Thank you so much.